Stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Are you in need of treatment or on the HSE waiting list? Come along to our cross-border healthcare information drop-in clinic at Kingsbridge, Letterkenny, Scally Place on Thursday the 8th of September. Our cross-border team will be there from 10 to 5 p.m. to assist you with all your queries and could book you in for an initial consultation at either of our hospitals in Belfast or Ballykelly. Why wait? Email businessrelations@kingsbridgehealthcaregroup.com for further information.
This is the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio. Comment in from Jim. Good morning, Donal. Yet another horrific tragedy in Ireland at the weekend. Not so long ago, murder in this country was a rare occurrence. Now it's a weekly event, and not just in the cities, but also in quiet rural areas. Have we, as a society, become desensitised to such violence in our communities? That's a reference, obviously, to the horrific deaths of three siblings, twins Christy and Chelsea Cawley, and their 18-year-old sister Lisa Cash. It happened in Tala. Charlie O'Connor is a local Fianna Fáil councillor in that area. Councillor O'Connor, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Charlie, it's a question, I suppose, that what is the mood in the area like this morning, and we can only imagine what it must be like in Tala today.
Well, I mean, yesterday was just one of those days that you think it would never happen in your life. I spent a lot of time in Rossfield Avenue in Brookfield here in Tala yesterday, listening to what was being said by neighbours, what was being said by the Gardaí. And I can absolutely tell you there was deep shock and upset in the community. And I made the point a number of times that obviously the family will need sympathy and support, but the wider community will also need it, especially the neighbours. And you probably seen media reports which have emerged over the last day and certainly into this morning about the horrific detail of what happened. And some of the things that have come out even this morning are absolutely shocking, and that will add to the upset, the shock, the grief that has been felt here, not only in the community in Tala, but in the wider community. And I can tell you, I've been getting calls from different parts of the country from people who know me, asking me, as you have, what's going on, what has happened, how are people reacting, and there was a lot of attention on this story yesterday, and there will be for quite some time. And I have to say, one of the things that strikes me this morning, as it did yesterday, that there are 3 school desks in the parish in Brookfield, which are empty this morning, and that's going to have a huge effect on the other children and people in the community, and that really brings it home.
And Tala is
horrific event.
Yeah, Tala is a suburb of Dublin, but it's also very much its own community, and it's also a close-knit community, and people know each other in Tala, and maybe sometimes those of us outside the area don't appreciate the extent to which Tala is its own local community. Sure. As such.
Well, it's interesting because through my political life, I've often taken the view that Tala really has the population of a city, but still the status of a village, and we are a suburb of Dublin, and we accept that. But it is a huge population centre, about 100,000 people, and still as big as it is, as large as our community is, it's a tight-knit community. And people, I can tell you from my own experience, and even talking to other public representatives yesterday and this morning, people are deeply shocked over this in a wider area, and we've a lot to face yet. Particularly as preparations will take place for the funerals, and that's going to be a particular challenge for those involved. And so this story, is going to linger in people's minds for a long, long time. And, that's the experience I had yesterday in Rossfield. And can I just make one point that the local Brookfield Youth and Community Centre opened its doors yesterday to allow people to come in and relax and grieve. And I was particularly struck by the young people, the 8 and 9 year old friends of the twins, who drew drawings and made little sketches and made little remarks about their friends, and it was all very loving and at the same time so sad, so horrific.
And it's going to be
People will
difficult
need support to work through these issues.
and it will be difficult too for the children's mother, who's been discharged from hospital, but also the 14-year-old, her 14-year-old son, who is in hospital with, as we understand it, a leg injury. We know he did actually jump out of a window to escape himself. I mean, what he must be going through, both physically and mentally at this point in time, must be horrific. Yeah,
unbelievable. So sad.
Yeah.
But like the people in Tala, particularly in Brookfield, will appreciate, that the country's thinking of them, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
But it is such a loss. It's a total tragedy.
Yeah. Councillor Charlie O'Connor, thanks indeed for speaking to us this morning, and our
Thank
thoughts
you very
are
much.
with you and with the people of Tala, and most importantly, with the families. Thank you. That's
God bless
Councillor Charlie O'Connor there speaking to us from Tala in Dublin. Let's go back to a local issue that was very much in the news late last week. Clonmany school bus. We know there was an issue with up to 10 children not having bus transport to school. On Friday, it seemed things may have been resolved, but that, it seems, isn't the case this morning. Joined online by Deputy Padraig McLaughlin. Padraig, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
The situation in Clonmany, Padraig, as we understand it, again, 14 pupils not brought to school this morning because there wasn't capacity on the bus.
Yeah, no, it's really totally unacceptable. We thought that there might have been some sense of solution. So what you have is one bus showing up every morning. It doesn't have the capacity for the number of students who have tickets. So what they have is another bus provider on standby. And that bus provider has been called in now on a number of occasions last week. That means that kids are delayed getting to school. Parents are having to stay on until the other bus gets there, which is called as a backup, not to be there. Can't get my head around that at all. So on Friday it worked okay, but again this morning you're back to square one. And my understanding, Donal, is that the issue is that Bus Éireann have put in for additional capacity, be it the core provider, and in fairness, there's no fault on their behalf. It's McGonigal's bus service, no fault on their behalf. That they would have the extra capacity, but it has to be sanctioned by the Department of Education. We have been in contact with the Minister again and again last week from my office. I understand other public representatives have been raising this too, and we absolutely need a solution urgently now at this stage.
What I can't get my head around, and I suspect you can't get your head around this either, is if there is one thing that is static, if there is one thing that's a constant, it's the number of children in a school and it's the number of children in a class. So it isn't as though they're going to school on Monday, they're not going to school on Tuesday, they might go to school on Wednesday, they'll probably go to school on Thursday, but they will go to school on Friday. They will be going to school every day. So how can we have a situation where if the backup bus is needed on Thursday, someone somewhere thinks it's not going to be needed on Friday?
I can't get my head around it, and basically what they have is exactly that. They have a backup, additional small bus available, a minibus to come over and pick up any extra kids, rather than having a bus that's the appropriate size or two buses there to pick up all the kids, in Clonmany and take them on to Carndonna. This is about, as I understand it now, this is about the Department of Education, school transport department, that they sign off on the extra capacity. So what sort of stands out about this one is across Donegal, Donal, you have a situation this year where parents who would have been able to get a school bus and would have paid for it under what's called the concessionary, so they're not more than 4.8 kilometres away from the school, but there was capacity in the bus. They were able to get a ticket every year. They thought this year, right, that's great, they're going to save maybe up to €500, but instead they don't have a place in the bus. So that's what the problem has been across Donegal, with a large number of families in different places across the county. But what's unique about this is, my understanding is, all of these kids and their parents have tickets, and that is known to Bus Éireann, that is known to the Department of Education, and they haven't put on the buses. And it's just outrageous that this has gone on for a second week. And so I'm speaking out about it again, hoping that our efforts through emails are not being dealt with, our phone calls are not being dealt with. So maybe speaking out on Highland Radio might have the desired effect.
And we know we do have a school, and I was chatting to one of my colleagues last week, and I passed a comment, right, it's time for the school bus stories to start. And they did, and we have this discussion every year, but usually it's people unable to get tickets. And as you said, the big difference this year appears to be that people who have tickets, people who thought they were sorted, are now being left on the side of the road because somehow somebody seems to think that they needed a backup bus yesterday, but they somehow mightn't need it today, so they're not going to put it out until they're called. I really don't understand this, and it seems that, I mean, if the extra bus was needed on Friday, it's going to be needed on Monday.
Yeah, and the other thing, from speaking to some of the parents, is that, like, obviously for the parents it's an inconvenience because they have their own time, they have their own work arrangements every day, but for the kids it's quite distressing. And on different days you had a situation where they eventually got them to Carndonna, but the same problem was going to be on the way home. So it was like first come, first served on the bus, and that was the concern every day. So, like, this is unacceptable for kids who are going about their education, for their parents. Again, I have to appeal to the Minister, will you bloody sign off on this extra capacity, this bus? There's no problem. The bus providers have told us there's no difficulty. They'll provide the extra capacity. They just need the green light.
Is this partly because Minister Norma Foley announced that there were going to be special concessions this year, and that transport would be free, and that the level of applications just snowballed as a result?
Well, my understanding of the situation in Clonmany was that it was well known that there was going to be more capacity, more kids that needed that bus this year. That was well known, regardless of the free transport being offered. But there's no doubt across Donegal and all the other instances that the free transport has understandably encouraged a large number of extra families to try and apply for it. And what it has done, rather than provide extra places for free, it's actually nudged out families who were getting the service every year, and it's left them in great inconvenience, in some cases making impossible choices. Some of the parents have contacted me. So, the big picture is not sorted. We're trying to get the Minister for Education into the Oireachtas Committee as soon as possible, along with her senior department officials, just to try and get a grip on this mess that they've made, unfortunately, around the country.
And finally, we now have a situation where people with tickets found themselves having to scrabble to get to school this morning, and may well find themselves standing tomorrow morning at a bus stop wondering if a bus is going to come.
Yeah, that's the infuriating thing, is, I mean, those kids now have a dilemma at the end of their school day today. They don't know where they're going to stand tomorrow. Their parents don't know. So, I mean, I can't stress this. Like, we have just every single day been on to, obviously, Bus Éireann, been on to the Department of Education, on to the Minister, and we just cannot get a clear answer. We understand the Department have to sign on the extra capacity, and for God's sake, will they just get it done?
Deputy Padraig McLaughlin, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin there, and that situation, as he said, very much unfolding. It's the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. 086 60 25,000 for your text messages or WhatsApp messages. 074 91 25,000 if you want to call. And you can also use social media at Highland Radio on Twitter, Highland Hub on Facebook, and also, of course, comments at Highland Radio via email. News and obituary notices coming up.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
At Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, the wait is over. Production is back. Now your plans can really begin. Whether that's scaling your business or smartening your service offering. With HB Finance from 3.9%, purchase contributions of up to €3,000 and service plans from $12.99 per month, Don't wait. Secure your next Caddy Cargo, Transporter 6.1 or Crafter at your local Volkswagen commercial vehicles dealer or visit volkswagenvans.ie. Be ready to really deliver. Offers for business customers only. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim for?
It's not a chip. I was in a minor accident.
And was your windscreen chipped in this accident?
No, it's just my backlight and the bumper.
So your windscreen is not chipped?
No.
Unfortunately, our policies only cover chips.
Do you get the feeling that you're not getting the right cover? Well, at Local Insurance, we are Irish owned and understand your needs. Call us today for a bespoke quote on 0818 894 444. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
In Aldi, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs only €3.99. And in Super Value, a 9-pack of luxury toilet tissue costs €4.99. Just saying. And swapping to Aldi could save you over €77 on your big family shop compared to Super Value. Now there's something to bear in mind. Comparing own label or equivalent brands, lowest pro rata used. Check 22nd of the 8th, 2022, excluding offers. Products and prices may vary. Details aldi.ie/swap.
With selected models readily available, it's time to treat yourself to a brand new car. Our Kia lineup is unbeatable in their class. Call today or visit us in Letterkenny or Malin, or visit imotors.ie.
Live on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. I'm Emma Ryan. 14 school pupils in Clonmany were left behind this morning due to a lack of bus capacity. The children, who are believed to have bus tickets, are unable to get the school bus in the morning due to the lack of space. A backup bus was eventually called, however this caused major delays for both the students and parents. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin says this is simply not acceptable.
It's really totally unacceptable. We thought that there might have been some sense of solution. So what you have is one bus showing up every morning. It doesn't have the capacity for the number of students who have tickets. So what they have is another bus provider on standby, and that bus provider has been called in now on a number of occasions last week. That means that kids are delayed getting to school. Parents are having to stay on until the other bus gets there.
A local business owner has expressed his disappointment at having to close his petting zoo due to flash flooding. Ergal View Pet Zoo, located at Anchorage Hotel in Gweedore, will remain closed for at least the rest of the week due to flood damage. The west of the county was badly impacted by flooding over the weekend, with roads washed away and family homes impacted. Owner of the zoo, Connie Gallagher, says it was badly impacted by flash flooding at least once a year, and he has not received any support.
We had to close yesterday. We couldn't open due to the flash flooding we had on Saturday night around 5 o'clock till roughly around about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of eased off again, but it had washed away all our paths. Our pathways are all gone, like there's not much left of them.
Yeah, I have to ask the question. I mean, I take it all the animals are okay. There hasn't been any damage in that respect.
No, there's no damage. The animals are quite safe processions, like, and the flooding would not come near them no matter how they're on high ground, like.
Yeah.
2 Donegal coastal areas feature on a new nationwide survey out this morning on littering at Ireland's beaches and harbours. In Donegal, Bundoran was once again ranked littered and was the worst performing beach surveyed. Killybegs Harbour was also found to be moderately littered. The litter survey by IBAL shows that beaches which were clean during the last survey have deteriorated, and litter levels in various coastal areas are on the rise. Spokesperson with IBAL, Conor Horgan, isn't happy with results and called on people to be more responsible.
Increased litter levels across the country in our coastal areas, and we found fewer areas receiving the clean status. Only 8 of the 33 areas surveyed were deemed clean. Unfortunately for Donegal, it was the same as last year. Bundoran was littered. It was the worst performing of the beaches we've surveyed, and Killybegs remained moderately littered, where the majority of areas across the country are.
Postmortems will be carried out today on the bodies of 8-year-old twins killed during a violent incident at their family home in Dublin. Chelsea and Christy Colley were stabbed to death along with their 18-year-old sister Lisa Cash at their home on Rashfield Avenue in Tala just after midnight on Sunday. The postmortem on Lisa Cash was completed last night. The siblings' 14-year-old brother managed to escape but was seriously injured and is being treated in hospital. A man aged in his 20s, who was known to all of the victims, is now in custody at Tala Garda Station. The PRO of the Micah Action Group has slammed recent comments from the Housing Minister, who said the government's Housing for All plan is working in Donegal. The Department of Housing released a statement last week claiming that Housing for All has delivered in Donegal in its first 12 months, with over 500 new homes built here and almost 20% increase in housing funding to Donegal County Council. However, the statement did not include any reference to the defective block scandal or the government's further revised redress scheme. The Micah Action Group's Michael Doherty said the claim Housing for All has delivered for Donegal couldn't be any further from the truth.
Anybody in Donegal knows that couldn't be further from the truth. That might wash down the country, and it might wash in his own constituency when he's trying to convince the rest of the nation and maybe parts of the world as to what this government has done for Donegal, but everybody knows it's done nothing for us. It's disingenuous, to say the least, and I think what we're up against here is what we have been up against all along. It's every attempt government can to put a spin on something that is far from the truth. The one thing that our campaign has been from the very, very start, it has been honest. And what we're seeing here today, even though there has been a lull over the summer, they're still trying to peddle something that is supposedly being done for Donegal, and the reality couldn't be further from the truth.
To weather now, largely dry this morning with sunny spells. However, cloud will build during the afternoon and showerly rain will spread gradually from the south towards the evening. Highest temperatures of 17 to 20 degrees. That's all the news for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock, but until then, good morning. Obituary notices for Monday morning, September 5th. The death has taken place of Mick Doherty, Tulla, Clonmany. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. The death has taken place of Patsy Patton, Ahanagati, Ramelton. Remains will repose at his home from 7 p.m. this evening. House private to family and close friends. Requiem Mass on Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. in St Mary's Church, Ramelton. Burial afterwards in St Patrick's Cemetery, Drumkeen. Funeral Mass can be viewed on Church Services TV, St Mary's Church, Ramelton. Family flowers only, donations if desired, to the Alzheimer's Society, care of the Patrick Sweeney Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Mary Donaghy, Nee McNally, Ballylin, Ramelton, and Inishkeen, Monaghan. Mary's remains are reposing at her late residence. Removal from there at 10:20 a.m. tomorrow morning, going to St Mary's Church, Ramelton, for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass. Burial in the adjoining graveyard. Rosary at 9 p.m. tonight. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or McAteer Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Eamon Strain, Gordnaski, Burnfoot. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Removal from his home tomorrow morning at 10:15 a.m. going to St Mura's Church, Fawn, for a Requiem Mass at 11 a.m. followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Eamon's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to COPD Support Ireland, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Georgina Sterrett, Nee Stewart, Casey Dunfanaghy. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral service in the Presbyterian Church Dunfanaghy tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Burial afterwards in Ballymore Graveyard. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flyers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or James Harkin funeral directors. The death has occurred of Anne McColgan, Nee Bar, Garrison, Ishkaheen. Removal from her home this morning at 10:30 a.m. to St Patrick's Church, Ishkaheen, for a requiem mass at 11 a.m. followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Anne's requiem mass can be viewed on MCN Media Ishkaheen. The death has occurred of Adrian Donal, 32, Castle Park, Eglinton. House restricted to family and close friends only please. Requiem mass will be celebrated in the Star of the Sea Church, Faughanvale, today at 12 noon. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu of flowers if wished to the Alzheimer's Society, Seven Oaks, Derry. The death has taken place of Paul McFadden, Paul Sam, Umar Afad, Creasla. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral mass in St Michael's Church, Creasla, this morning at 11 a.m. Burial afterwards in Doe Cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on mcnmedia.tv. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or James Harkin funeral director, Creasla. The death has taken place of Patrick Smith, Carrick Boyle, Gweedore, originally from County Offaly. Funeral mass in St Mary's Church, Derrybeg this afternoon at 1 p.m. with interment afterwards in Mahragallen Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of Anne McElhinney, Nee McClay, late of the Diamond, Lifford. Her remains are reposing at her daughter-in-law, Antoinette McClay's home, 2 Tamworth Grove, Newtown Kennedy Street, Strabane. Funeral leaving her daughter-in-law's home this morning at 10:20 a.m. for requiem mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlough, Lifford at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The requiem mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Susan Tinney, Nee Peoples, 215, Ardbathan, St Johnson, and formerly of 207, Ardbathan, St Johnson. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home this afternoon at 2:15 p.m. for requiem mass in St Baithan's Church, St Johnson at 3 p.m. Interment afterwards in the Old Cemetery, St Johnson. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu to the Medical Short Stay Ward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Quigley Funeral Directors or any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
There are many reasons people are switching to Clear Mobile.
Serious deal. Simple as.
Customer service is A1.
Great coverage.
There you go. Unlimited calls, texts and data with 99% 4G population coverage from $12.99 a month for a limited time. You clear? They are. Switch today at clearmobile.ie. 30-day contract. Activation fee and fair usage applies. Max data speed 5 megabits per second. $12.99 subject to eligibility. Offer ends 30th of September 2022. See clearmobile.ie for terms.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
This week at Home Store and More, all stools and chairs are half price. Like the Belmont bar stool, now only $74.50. Or the cream boucle chair, now only $149.50. But better hurry, because when all our half-price stools and chairs are gone, they're gone. And remember, all our painting and DIY accessories are also still all half price. But when all our painting and DIY accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Is your car due a service? We offer pickups and drop-offs from your home or work. We even offer courtesy cars, making your car service a hassle-free experience. Call today or visit imotors.ie to book in.
The Donegal Blackface Sheep Breeders Association annual female sale of aged Joes, Huggets and Ewe lambs will be held in Ballybuffet and Stranraer Mart this Wednesday 7th of September. The show starts at 6 with viewing from 4 p.m.
Hi folks, Paul McDevitt here, inviting you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for another edition of the Monday Night Sessions. On the show this week, and with the Glenties Harvest Fair starting next weekend, we'll be speaking with some of the committee involved. And one of the main acts, Mickey Joe Hart, will be popping in for a chat and a few songs. Twin Towns singer-songwriter Mickey Duffy will also be joining us. And we say hello to Donegal band Red Alert. So that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. right here on Highland Radio.
Attention all staff. Clean up on aisle 4, please. That's a clean up on aisle 4. And Jacob, who's popped in for a pint of milk, has diabetes.
We don't always know who's at risk from COVID-19 and other viruses, but we do know how to protect them. Keep hands clean and wear a mask. Let fresh air in. Get vaccinated and stay at home if you are unwell. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show on this Monday morning. Caller says, can you ask if anyone out there has any advice on plantar fasciitis, please? That's from a regular listener. I know plantar fasciitis it's a sort of a stabbing pain in the heel. It's tissue that's underneath the heel, and it can give you stabbing pains, particularly first thing in the morning. With regards to how to tackle it, all I can suggest is see a podiatrist or a chiropodist, and I must be honest, I have no idea what the difference between a chiropodist and a podiatrist is, but they both would specialise in feet. Perhaps a podiatrist is more medically oriented, where a chiropodist is more sort of foot care oriented. I'm not sure what the difference is, to be honest, but I think maybe they would be either a chiropodist or a podiatrist really would be the person you'd need to be speaking to get proper advice. But I know, and my understanding of it is it can ease. It can be really serious. You wake up and it's horrendous. You get this stabbing, horrible pain in your heel, and then it goes after a while. But with regards to any long-term advice, I would suggest maybe seek, as I say, a chiropodist or a podiatrist for some advice there. Farmer in Creasle says the same place flooded last year. He lost 3 sheep. He got on to Minister Charlie McConnell. Donegal County Council was meant to organise extra drainage pipes along the road. That never happened. He was flooded again this weekend, but thankfully didn't lose any more sheep. Caller says, regarding school transport, the reason there are more children and students on the road this morning is the school had a phased return. So last week they weren't all back, whereas all years are back as of today. And I certainly take that point. I thought in most places everyone was going to be back by sort of Thursday. I thought sort of 1st of September was the cutoff, but thank you indeed, caller, for putting me right on that particular one. Caller says, I think it's ridiculous that the Ukrainian community are being brought here while our young people are heading off to America, Australia and Canada for work. And I think the key word there is work. People are emigrating, some because they feel they have no choice, others because they want to advance their careers. Ukrainians are being brought here in order to flee a war which is ravaging their homeland, and in order to keep them safe from danger. They are, by definition, refugees. They are people who are fleeing their homes. I have no doubt that the vast, vast majority of Ukrainian people who are in Donegal and every other county in this country at this point in time would much rather be at their homes in Ukraine. But sadly, the situation with the Russian invasion in their homes is, at this point in time, for many of them, their homes are not safe. They're worried about family members. They're worried about relatives who may be serving in the armed forces. They may be worried about relatives who are on the front line. They are people who are not here because they have made a choice to come over to Ireland and try and get a job. That is not the reason they're here, and I think it's an unfair and it's a wrong comparison to make, to draw a comparison that somehow suggests that Irish people who have emigrated for work purposes to the US or Australia or Canada are somehow in the same situation as Ukrainian refugees are here. I think it's not a valid comparison at all on any level, to be honest. That's my own personal feeling. Okay, look, it's 19 minutes past 10. I know you're thinking, where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? Am I rich? Am I rich? Am I rich? Perhaps you are. Grab your pen, grab your books. It's time for Highland Radio, NCBI Radio Bingo. And without further ado, I will hand you over to Canis.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 5th of September. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S16. It's game number 36. The numbers are 28, 77, 39, 23, 19, 74, 1, 7, 13, and finally 67. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
There are silent conversations that happen on our roads every day between drivers and older pedestrians like me. When we catch each other's eye to say, "Do you see me?" or "I'm crossing." But when people don't look out for each other, those connections can be missed. And so can I.
Too many older pedestrians are being killed on our roads. When we look out for each other,
we keep each other safe.
Please look out for older pedestrians. From the Road Safety Authority, visit rsa.ie.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, your football specialist. Multi-buy discounts on footballs from Mitre, Adidas and O'Neill's. Training equipment, cones, bibs, water bottle sets. View our complete range on bmcsports.ie. Have your team look the part with some Adidas leisure wear. New Entrada 22 quarter zips with matching bottoms. Training packs available for all ages. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
This week at Home Store and More, all stools and chairs are half price. Like the Belmont bar stool, now only $74.50. Or the cream boucle chair, now only $149.50. But better hurry, because when all our half-price stools and chairs are gone, they're gone. And remember, all our painting and DIY accessories are also still all half price. But when all our painting and DIY accessories are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Fit for You Alterations. Chestnut Road, Ballybuffet. Professional clothing alterations, repair and restyle. Trousers, jackets, coats, shirts, blouses, skirts, workwear, uniforms, bridal wear, leather and fur. We can make clothing alterations, repair and restyle to all your clothes. Call in store to our newly opened premises, Fit for You Alterations, Chestnut Road, Ballybuffet.
Or call 085 849 1008 for more details.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
This is the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio, and if you happen to be watching on our Facebook Live or YouTube feed, you will notice that we have the studio guest camera on, and that's because I am joined in studio this morning by Catherine Devine, who is the owner of Pumpskins. Catherine, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Catherine, Pumpskins, it's a really interesting initiative that you've been embarked on for a while. You basically make silicone skins for diabetes equipment and silicone pumps and so on.
Correct. Yeah, it's a business that I started 2 years ago, motivated by my own challenges, having had type 1 diabetes since 2013. I couldn't find products to protect and personalise my insulin pump, so I took matters into my own hands.
And you did make the point off air that, you know, for people who have a mobile phone, many of us will have a protective cover on the phone and we'll guard it with our, you know, we guard it, yeah, but yet with something like an insulin pump, which is vital medical equipment and very expensive medical equipment, very often it's just left unprotected.
Correct, and that is really why I started looking at what options were available to protect my own insulin pump, and I saw the options were very, very limited. They were sort of medically focused, whereas Pumpskins are really fashion focused. They allow people to really personalise their devices.
Actually, take yours out, because there is a you are on camera for those who are watching on Facebook or YouTube. So if you just hold that's the pump.
Yeah.
And as there's a nice multicoloured sort of cover that you have over it. Yeah,
that's what it would like, and it changes the conversation, Donal. You know, people often would have looked at my insulin pump and said, "Oh, what's that? You know, is it a pager? Is it?" You know, they didn't know what it was. Whereas when you've got a colourful or a glittery cover on it, people say, "Oh, what's that?" You know, and then it opens up the conversation. It allows you to educate people about type 1 and what life is like living with a chronic illness, because often there's a lot of misconception about really what living with type 1 diabetes entails.
And from your own point of view, then you can put designs on. So I might go and say I want a Rush logo on it. Somebody else might go and say I want a Man United logo on it, and somebody else might say I'd like a picture of my dog on it.
Correct, and that's the plan. You know, the business has really developed over the last couple of years, and in the coming months we're going to offer options for personalisation to really allow people to put their own images and logos
And do you do the manufacturing of the cover itself as well in Donegal, or do you just do the design and contract out the manufacturing of the actual silicone cover itself?
So we had to contract out the manufacturing because in the early stages, obviously, we were a small startup, and businesses were requiring huge minimum order quantities that obviously we couldn't afford. So we had to go overseas for the manufacturing. But ultimately, it's our goal to have the manufacturing much more local.
Now, the reason that we have you in this morning is that you are a spokesperson, as it were, an ambassador, shall we say, for the Ambition programme, which is an initiative to develop female entrepreneurship in the county here.
Correct, and it's really an incredible programme. And for me, I was on the first cohort of the Ambition one, and it couldn't have come at a better time because I'd launched my website in late 2020. And I knew a lot about what I was making. I knew a lot about the niche that I was in, but I realised I knew absolutely nothing about being in business. So when I saw the advertisement for Ambition, I thought this sounds like something that would be really beneficial. Now, 2 years down the line, I can't tell you how beneficial it's been. Taking part in the programme gave me a platform to really grow the business from. So one of the most important things about being on Ambition is that it makes you question everything about your business. So I went in there thinking that I had, you know, really good product. I thought I knew my market, but I really didn't. And one of the most significant things about the Ambition program is that the customer discovery process is really an integral part of it. So in that, you speak to the people that you think are going to be your customers, but you really have to shift your thinking from finding out not what you think is a good idea, but what other people's problems are, and about focusing on the problem and not the solution. But one of the other really important things about being on the program is that being a startup, being an entrepreneur is a lonely journey. You know, you're often doing everything by yourself, and you know, with the best will in the world, there's only so much support you can get from family and friends before they start thinking, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
So when you are part of a group of like-minded people, the support is incredible. And also Helen Fullen, who coordinated the program, was really, you know, exceptional in being constructively critical, but also being your biggest champion, but helping you to look at every aspect of the business.
Did it give you an edge, the fact that because you had the challenge yourself, you had an idea of what people might need? You certainly knew what you needed. Now, whether you can extrapolate from your need and assume that's what everybody else needs is another question entirely. But presumably that gave you some kind of, at least a starting edge, that you, as you had the challenge yourself, you knew something of that market. You weren't going in there blind.
Absolutely, I think that is something. When I started the program, I had an idea, but and I was trading. I had sales, but I think it's really important for anyone who is thinking about applying to Ambition 3 that you don't need to be trading. All you need is a really strong idea, and if you have something, an idea that you think is globally scalable, if you think that you've got a strong business idea, then absolutely apply, because there is no better environment for you to develop this business idea. And I guarantee if you go in with just an idea, you will come out the other side with a business plan to help you find the way forward.
Does the name suggest that if you go in and say, I want to make a product and sell it in Ireland, they'll say to you, why not look at the UK? If you go in and say, I want to sell a product in Ireland and the UK, they might say, why not look at Europe? And if you say, I want to sell a product in Europe, they'll say, why not look at the world?
Absolutely, and I think that is the name of the program is Ambition. And I think often, I mean, for me, I could see the global scalability of my idea. But I think from speaking to some of the other women who have been on the program, they didn't see that they saw that they had potential, but they didn't see quite how it could be scalable. But through the support from the local enterprise office, through the support from the program manager, and their expertise, they've got a wealth of business knowledge. So through all of that, then they are pointing out the additional potential that a lot of these businesses had. So I think absolutely, it's that network, it's that group that really will help you to grow your business and grow your business idea.
And it doesn't matter what stage the business is at. As you say, you were up and running, you were trading. In other cases, it may be someone who has an idea and hasn't actually begun that sort of process yet. So it isn't as though you have to be at a certain point. It isn't as though some people are going to say, oh, I'm too late, I should have done it last year. If someone has an idea, or if someone is at the early stages, I mean, is there a point where it's too late, or is anyone who's established, able to win and get involved with this as well? Because presumably, wherever you are with a business at this point in time, there is potential there to expand it, there is potential there to grow.
Absolutely. I would encourage any woman, whatever stage they are at, if they have confidence in their own business, and that's what's really important, if they have confidence in their idea, confidence in their business, then being part of the Ambition program will place you in a network of incredible expertise, incredible support, and in fact that's one of the biggest things that I took away from the program was the support and being part of a group of other women who were who understood where I was coming from. We were all in the same boat. A lot of us had families, we had other commitments, we were trying to grow and start a business. And having someone at the end of an email or at the end of a text message to help, that was really invaluable, and that was such an important part of the program as well.
The closing date for applications is Wednesday the 7th of September, midnight. Now that's obviously 2 days' time, so there isn't maybe an awful lot of time. So, I mean, is it that someone goes in and just makes an initial application and then the process starts, or do you have to apply with pages and pages of accounts and details and business plans and forecasts and everything else?
No, absolutely not. It's a very simple application process, actually. And don't be concerned, about things that you may not understand. Just get your idea down on paper, and the people who are assessing the applications will read through those and give you feedback on that, and then hopefully you'll get onto the program.
Yeah. From your own point of view, you're now exporting to 16 countries. As you said, you've secured CFS investment from Enterprise Ireland. You're on the up. You have, as you said, expansion plans and hoping, in time to actually bring manufacturing of the product into Ireland. Obviously, it's been a success for yourself. From the point of view of your own success, I mean, it's perhaps an unfair question. Were it not for Ambition, would you be where you are now?
Absolutely not. I mean, not at this stage. It would have taken me years to get to where I am now. But one of the most important things that I came away from Ambition with was a pitch deck that I can take to investors anywhere. I've used it countless times over the last year or so. And the thing I will say about the Ambition Programme is that it's at a very high level. You know, you're really thrown in at the deep end, but you're given the support to develop a business plan, to develop your pitch deck, and given the resources to really come out the other side with a very strong platform to grow your business from.
And as you said, this is being coordinated by the local enterprise office in Donegal. Presumably they're the ones that are taking the applications. Call in or email or get in touch with the LEO and take it from there.
Absolutely, and I have to thank the Donegal Leo and Helen Fullen, the coordinator of the programme, because they have really, this is the first programme of its type in Ireland. They've really taken a proactive approach to supporting women entrepreneurs. And this is a programme which is really invaluable and will make an enormous difference to Donegal and its economy going forward.
Catherine, all the best with Pumpskins, and continued success to yourself, and success to all and every participant who gets involved in the Ambition programme. Certainly it worked for you. You're a great advert for it. Have to say, I mean, you know, you and I will know each other of old, because previously you were a journalist with the Donegal News, and you'll be well known in the council chambers and the various business meetings and so on. I mean, you know, are you glad? I mean, it's a complete change in tack, and it must have been a difficult move for yourself to actually hand in your notice and say, right, that's it, I'm going to leave this comfortable job that I know and I know I'm good at, and I'm going to go into this brand new pasture.
Absolutely. I mean, it was at the time that I started the business, I had actually been off. I was quite ill with type 1 diabetes. And at that point, I decided to turn a negative into a positive. And I thought, well, I need to do something. And that's how the business came about. But had I not had the support of the Ambition programme down the line, perhaps I'd be in a very different situation now. And, you know, I think it's really important to have something like that. Yeah, because it's frightening to give up you know, traditional 9-to-5 employment where you know that you're going to get paid at the end of every month, to then think, right, hang on, I'm in charge of this. You know, what I'm making every month is down to me. So yeah, it's a big leap, but for me it was very definitely one that I don't regret. And when I get the feedback, it's the feedback from my customers that really is the most overwhelming thing. You know, when you have a parent of a child in South America who's sending you a message saying, thank you for making my child feel really cool. You know, thank you for, you know, I've had adults contacting me. You know, I had a woman in Australia who grew up by the coast all of her life, and she said that she'd always been frightened to have her insulin pump on display at the beach. So she bought one of our covers. It was bright rainbow coloured. And she sent me a picture of her with her pump on display at the beach. So to be able to really make people feel confident about life with chronic illness is my motivation.
Yeah, and it seems such a simple, straightforward idea that it's amazing nobody else thought of it, but you did.
Well, I have a few competitors. You know, everybody has competitors, and that's one of the reasons that I really enjoyed being on the programme, because I did so much customer discovery. And like that, Donal, when I came up with the idea, I thought, why is no one else doing this? And I think it's because a lot of times, unless you understand type 1 diabetes, unless you're connected with it directly, you don't understand what a burden it can be and how time-consuming managing the condition is. So I was just fortunate to be in a position where I was able to have the time and the space to start this business. And I think that's why, you know, I'm doing it differently as well to the others, because I saw the gap in the market from products that I couldn't find. So that's why I knew what I wanted to make. Unfortunately, it's what, you know, thousands of other people are wanting to buy as well. So.
And if there is anyone out there who is interested in the product, Pumpskins, spelled really coolly with a Y and a Z, I presume there's a website that they can look it up on?
Absolutely, pumpskins.com.
So that's pumpskynz.com.
Yes.
Catherine, it's been an absolute pleasure. Continued success with the business, and as we said, the Ambition programme, if you're wondering, well, you know, would it be any good? I think the evidence of the fact that it can be very, very good indeed is sitting before us as we speak. Catherine, thank you very much. Good morning.
Thanks very much, Donal.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Do you know how green skills can benefit you as an employee? Skills to Advance has a range of green skills courses to help you develop new skills, future-proof your job, and access highly subsidised flexible training. For more information, contact your local education and training board or visit skillstoadvance.ie. Boost skills, boost business with Skills to Advance. Brought to you by Sulis and the ETBs, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
For all your health and beauty needs, you can always rely on McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If you need a prescription, just call or order online at mcgees.ie and it will be ready for you in advance before you arrive. For beauty and skin care, there's all the big names at great prices in store and online. And for your photo printing needs, simply download the McGee's Photo Prints app or click on the website link. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, for all your health and beauty needs, and so much more. Call 91-21409 or visit mcgees.ie.
Hi everyone, Madeleine here from the 4-star Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa, County Donegal. I hope you're coming along to our wedding fair on Sunday the 11th of September from 1 to 4 p.m. Only the best exhibitors on show, plus many more treats and surprises for all through the doors. One fair not to be missed. The 4-star Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights, or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
When it comes to searching for a holiday, Atlantic Travel and Letterkenny deal with all the major tour operators from Dublin and Belfast to find you the best deals available. A week in the sun, a cruise, or maybe a short break. Whatever suits, you can book in confidence with Atlantic, knowing your holiday is protected should something go wrong. Take the hassle and worry out of your holiday booking with the award-winning Atlantic Travel, St Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny. For a quote today, see Facebook, visit atlantictravel.ie or call 9126193.
all music is Irish music, and that's a policy I am very, very happy indeed to weigh in behind. Stockton's Wing there, best known of course for Beautiful Affair, but that's Walk Away, the other single for which they are known. Great song indeed, one of the classics of Irish music. We'll play that one very specially for Catherine Boner, who's our niece. Catherine's in Ballybofey and she recently turned 50, and that's from Kay and Eamon and all in Letterkenny. So Catherine, a very happy birthday to you. Hope you had a great day and hope all is well with you and yours. It's 11:15. I'm going to take a short break. Back with more of your comments and our next guest after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
School's back, so you'll probably want healthy snacks that can fit in a lunchbox. Luckily, Lidl has bags of savings on fresh fruit, like loose easy peelers only 19¢, fun-sized Pink Lady apples just 99¢, and snack carrots at a bite-sized 49¢. That's big discounts in small sizes. School days cost less at Lidl. More for you.
Thinking of North America? Aer Lingus from Donegal Airport is the way to go. With great fares and onwards connections across North America, you'll fly via Dublin, where you'll pre-clear customs, saving you time on arrival. See airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
Your Lancome free gift is waiting for you at McElhinney's. Simply buy 2 Lancome products and receive the ultimate beauty routine. Your gift includes a full-size Beavisil cleanser, a 7-piece travel set, plus choose from our Absolute or Hydrozen skincare collection to complete your gift. Exclusively in-store and online at McElhinney's.com until September 17th while stocks last.
At ESB Networks, we're connecting Ireland to a clean electric future. And as part of the National Smart Metering programme, we're now installing smart electricity meters in your area. Your new smart meter will reduce the need for estimated bills, help you to manage your electricity usage more efficiently, and enable you to access smart electricity products and services. We'll contact you before your meter is installed. Find out more at esbnetworks.ie/smartmeter.
Patterson's The Hall Lifford, one of Ireland's largest kitchen and interior showrooms. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Kitchens, beds, mattresses and furniture, all under one roof. 50% off our ex-display kitchens. Everything you need to make a house a home. At Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall Lifford.
If you're in business, you need to accept card payments. An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1-800-300-150 and start accepting card payments today.
Call now on 074 91 25,000.
Caller asks, can you find out for me, Donegal County Council used to have depots where you could drop off your discarded items with a plug. This hasn't happened since pre-COVID-19. I used to drop them off in Buncrana, so when this isn't happening, can we bring them to Carndonagh? Is this service free there? And what days do they open? Yes, the Council's recycling centre, operated by Bryson Recycling, is open in Carndonagh. It does accept electrical items. I do believe there is a charge for that. Now, the cost, the cost, I can't comment on the cost, but I'll just say something else about that in just a moment. The opening hours are Monday 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m, closed on Tuesday, Wednesday 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m, closed on Thursday and Friday, and on Saturday 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Now, if you have electrical items with a plug, there is the charge called WEEE, which is WEEE, the Waste Electrical Equipment something, and under that, you pay a charge when you buy a product, and part of that charge allows you to bring an old product with you to the shop. And if you're buying, for instance, if you're buying, say, a new air fryer and you have an old air fryer that's no longer functioning, you can go to the shop, you can buy your air fryer wherever it may be, and you can hand the old air fryer in, and they are obliged to take it at the point of sale. Now, whether that extends to the recycling centre, to be honest, I do not know. I cannot answer that question. If anyone can answer it for me, please do let us know. But certainly, it's Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 to 4:30 is the opening hours of the centre in Carn. Caller says, next time you're speaking to the management at Letterkenny University Hospital, can you please ask, why do people have to pay €3 for parking for a half an hour visit? I have a visit every evening and I think it's just crazy. I would have thought there'd be some way of regular visitors being able to buy some sort of a weekly pass or something like that. It is certainly a steep charge. I think it's the first 20 minutes is free, but after that it is a heavy, and that is a fairly heavy charge, absolutely. With regards to plantar fasciitis, caller says the person needs physiotherapy. Their GP can refer them for that, which they absolutely can, so that may be the way to go. School transport, a caller says school transport's a joke. When you try to contact Bus Éireann, there is nobody answering the phone. I do know Bus Éireann have been under severe pressure with the number of calls they've been taking. Another caller says we have 15 children, with most of them granted tickets and no bus on our route. It's a primary school route for Sculwera in Creasla. The bus runs with 16 empty seats, but Stranorlar insists it's a problem for the Department of Education to change the route by 4 miles. The inspector insists the state's collection point is Swilly Bryn, where there is no bus passing. It was in fact a misprint in Dublin, and we've been advised to make schools where we've been advised to move schools where there is no bus either. Always at this time of the year, bus transport is a major issue, but these issues really should be resolved, one would have thought. Now, I'm going to go to Roisin Clark, who is the interim CEO of Mental Health Reform. They have just made their pre-budget submission, as many organisations are doing. Roisin, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Roisin, in terms of the money being spent on mental health services, you're calling on the government to make an investment of €100 million in the forthcoming budget. How do you foresee that money being spent?
Absolutely, we are, and thank you very much for having me. And just to say, Mental Health Reform, we're actually a coalition of organisations, and we have 81 member organisations that work across the voluntary and community sector in mental health services and supports. And we are calling on the government to prioritise mental health in budget 2023. We need an additional investment of at least 100 million in this budget, and that's to deliver urgent reforms across the mental health system. 25 million of that is for maintenance of existing services, and 75 million is for the development of services to address a massive unmet need.
Now, we know we've had debates, obviously, about the child and adolescent mental health service CAMS.
Indeed.
There's been a huge debate, and it's a big debate. Obviously, the focus nationally has been on Kerry, but there's a major debate on waiting lists and waiting times in Donegal as well, as I'm sure there is in every county in the country, and also on other services and the funding for them. You're making the point that COVID put very much a spotlight on several of these services, and whereas COVID has, to a certain extent, receded, certainly in our immediate thoughts, the importance of mental health supports and the importance of mental health services hasn't, and it remains as pressing an issue as ever.
Donal, would not be possible to state how the impact of COVID-19 is still very much with us. We, in fact, don't know the true extent of the impact, or indeed how long we might be dealing with it for. So I acknowledge that, you know, as you've put it, it seems as if it may have receded, and the immediacy of the pandemic may indeed appear to have receded. And I know we are facing again into challenging times, but we have figures and we have information that shows that we are really at a point of crisis in mental health services. Now, you mentioned CAMS. There's been a 60% increase since 2020 alone in waiting lists for CAMS. And as you can imagine, delays in accessing care are extremely harmful for children and young people, particularly when they require urgent mental health services. But outside of that, there are studies. A study that took place in June, actually, just this year, reported that 5.5% of women and 40% of men, and this is between the ages of 20 and 22, are classified as depressed. But perhaps most shocking is that an additional Irish study, a collaborative with a number of universities, highlighted that over 40% of the population experience a mental health difficulty. Now, these are staggering figures.
And the other,
we need to keep mental health at the top of the agenda for Budget 2023.
Something that I was surprised to see toward the end of last week was when I read a story that suggested a mental health problem can cost a person over €13,000 a year. And in these times, obviously, of cost of living and so on, there's been a big focus on it. I mean, there's very few of us can easily just lay our hands on €13,000 a year. And we also do know that in many cases, mental health issues can be particularly felt by people who are struggling because of the economy, who are struggling because of their personal services. So very often people can be in that position partly because of money pressures already. And if their mental health problem is going to cost them an extra €13,000 a year, I mean, that's going to pile pressure upon pressure.
Donal, we were all really concerned about the cost of living, and Mental Health Reform, we absolutely recognise the impact of economic adversity on mental health, and that's across the board. And we are aware we're looking into a winter that could indeed be very challenging. But I have to point out that figure that you've mentioned, the 13,251, that in fact does not even take into account the drastic inflation rates that we are seeing since that figure was first reported. And it really is a very serious situation for people when you couple that as an existing figure in advance of the economic stress and adversity, and then if you compound that together, it really needs immediate attention.
And the reality too is, in many instances, mental health issues, it can literally be an issue of life or death.
Absolutely it can, and that's why we are saying that people simply cannot afford to wait for these services.
What sort of political reaction are you getting when you've made your pre-budget submission? Are you getting any indication that there is a political will to address this? Because the reality is Paschal Donoghue and Michael McGrath are both going to say we have every organisation in the country and every public body and every private body telling us we need more money, telling us we need to spend X, Y and Z. We have the Fiscal Advisory Council telling us we can't afford to do this, we can't afford to do that, we can't afford to do the other. You believe that the money you are asking for isn't some form of luxury, isn't a sum of money that would be handy. This is something you believe absolutely vital to the very mental health of the nation.
Absolutely. And you know what, Donal, I do think perhaps there has been a bit of a sea change in attitudes and a greater awareness indeed that was brought about through the pandemic, but we have had very positive engagement across parties, and we will be engaging with Minister Mary Butler as well over the course of the coming weeks. So we are positive and very hopeful that we will have a strong and good outcome from our budget campaign this year. And as I say, we have had very good cross-party, and particularly as we launched our submission earlier this week. And there is a recognition and an acknowledgement at government level at the importance of this and the situation that, you know, to use a turn of phrase, we could be breaking a bigger cross, if I may, by addressing this now.
Roisin Clarke, Interim CEO of Mental Health Reform, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you so much, Donal.
Thank you, Roisin, and we'll be watching with interest to see how the allocations go in Budget 2023 later this
Thank
month.
you, Donal. Thank you. Our hashtag is cost of waiting, and we'd be delighted if people could engage with us on social media and give us some support. It'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. So hashtag cost of waiting for that particular campaign. That is Roisin Clarke, as we say. She's Interim CEO of Mental Health Reform. I see Emma in studio getting ready for the 11 o'clock headlines. We're going to take a short break, and after that, we'll go straight to her.
Check this.
Join me this Monday for the DL Debate, your weekly GA radio show and podcast. As our championships hit crunch time, we'll round up all the action of the weekend in the company of Donegal News sports correspondent Ryan Ferry and two championship winning managers Brendan Kilcoyne and Gary McDade. We'll also have feedback from the Masters Shield final as our Donegal lads take on Galway. That's the DL Debate just after 7pm news this Monday and podcasted on highlandradio.com.
The DL Debate with Sister Sarah's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love in Sarah's kitchen.
We all know everyone's bills are going up, so maybe it's time to say goodbye to those other supermarkets. At Lidl, we always help to make your full shop cost less, so hopefully it's one less worry. Because when you go full Lidl, you'll have the freedom to shop without compromise and pay less. So go on, go full Lidl today. Paying less when compared to other supermarket retailers when shopping like-for-like products on pro-rata prices. See Lidl.ie/go full Lidl for more.
In this week's RTE Guide, Amy Huberman on loss, laughter and love that lasts a lifetime. In this jam-packed September issue, we have the unmissable TV shows, movie blockbusters and books for those cosy nights ahead. Plus, interviews with Mo Dumford and Michael Flatley. Everything and more. RTE Guide, on sale now.
Brian McCormick Sports in Letterkenny are looking to sign some new team players to work part-time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for a minimum of 16 hours per week. Also, part-time positions for third-level students are available on Fridays and Saturdays. Retail experience is not necessary, but would be an advantage. See Instagram or Facebook for details, or apply by email to office@bmcsports.ie.
Book a private VIP screening at Century Cinemas. Perfect for celebrating birthdays and special occasions. Featuring a private VIP screening with luxury reclining seating, delicious popcorn and a brilliant choice of movies. For further information on our VIP packages, call Century Complex Letterkenny on 07491 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie. Donegal Local Development Company is hosting a showcase event called Celebrating Donegal Business in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny on Saturday the 10th of September from 12 noon to 4 p.m. This event is free to attend and features the very best in local businesses. Find your perfect tradesman, beauty product, gift idea, outdoor adventure and much more, all in the one place. Come along and support your local businesses on a day that's guaranteed to be fun for all. There's lots of spot prizes and face painting for the kids. Make Celebrating Donegal Business your business this September the 10th. For more information, visit dldc.org.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
This is the 9 till noon show. It's just gone 11 o'clock. Time for headlines. We say good morning to Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Donal. Good morning. 14 pupils in Clonmany were left behind this morning due to a lack of school bus capacity. The children, who are believed to have bus tickets, were unable to get the school bus due to a lack of space and an increased uptake on the route. A backup bus was eventually called, however it caused delays for both the students and parents. A local business owner has expressed his disappointment at having to close his petting zoo due to flash flooding. Eagle View Pet Zoo, located at Anchorage Hotel in Gweedore, will remain closed for at least the rest of the week due to flood damage. Many parts of the county was badly impacted by flooding over the weekends, with road washed away in some areas. Owner Conor Gallagher says the zoo is impacted by flash flooding at least once a year and he has not received any support. A man in his 20s remains in custody this morning after the death of 3 siblings in Dublin over the weekend. 8-year-old twins Christy and Chelsea Crawley were stabbed to death along with their 18-year-old sister Lisa Cash in their home in Tallaght just after midnight on Sunday morning. Their 14-year-old brother managed to escape, but he is being treated for serious injuries at Tallaght Hospital. Liz Truss is set to be confirmed as the new British Prime Minister at lunchtime today. Boris Johnson's successor will be announced in the House of Commons at 12:30. The new PM inherits a flagging economy with UK inflation at a 40-year high. 2 Donegal coastal areas feature in a new nationwide survey out this morning on littering at Ireland's beaches and harbours. In Donegal, Bundoran was once again ranked littered and was the worst performing beach surveyed. Killybegs Harbour was found to be moderately littered. And finally, the PRO of the Micah Action Group has slammed recent comments from the Housing Minister, who said the government's Housing for All plan is working in Donegal. The Department of Housing released a statement last week claiming that Housing for All has delivered in Donegal in the first 12 months, with over 500 new homes built here and almost a 20% increase in housing funding to Donegal County Council. However, the statement did not include any reference to the defective block scandal or the government's further revised redress scheme. The Micah Action Group's Michael Doherty said the claim Housing for All has delivered in Donegal couldn't be any further from the truth. That's the news headlines for now. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon, but until then, good morning.
Anyone aged 12 or over with a long-term health condition can now boost their protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. For more information or to book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre, visit hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard. Bringing full banking features. Delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
Into the third and final hour of the 9 till noon show. 086 60 25,000 for your text or WhatsApp messages. 07491 25,000 if you want to call us. Caroline taking your calls and producing the show as well, of course. And you can use social media at Highland Radio on Twitter, Highland Hub on Facebook, comments at highlandradio.com on email. Now, last week, Greg was in Rathmullen and Brendan Devaney was in studio, and Greg promised Brendan faithfully that he would see him next week face to face. Greg then promptly headed off to London. So, Brendan, I'm afraid you're stuck with me. Good morning. How are you doing?
That's it, lifestyle, Donal. That's great, isn't it? No, listen, glad to see you, lad. Good morning to you.
And good morning to you too, Brendan. A very, very busy day yesterday with regards to the club championship. You were out and about yourself. Four really important matches coming up after the matches at the weekend. No, there's 8 quarterfinals coming up, isn't it? Yeah,
four.
So we had the 8.
The relegation playoff. Yeah. It's four teams. Four teams at the bottom, 8 at the top. Yeah.
So it was a busy weekend. Any particular shocks coming up?
Do you know what? But actually, it was heartwarming. We'd seen some real hammerings, unfortunately, and the way the pot was. There was one side of it where most of the stronger teams were, and we hadn't seen a lot of what we would call championship games. But in fairness, the 4 teams at the bottom, which is Mulford, Ardra, Bundoran, and St Knowles, they were all at home and they were all expected to be beaten by the teams who's playing them. But they really give it the full championship push. And even the St Knowles game, the one that I was at, was a brilliant game, real end-to-end stuff. And even though, as I say, St Michael's were real favourites in there, you know, they gave it all, and all the other games were close right down to a point, and the home teams really stepped up, and I guess that backs the wall thing, which we often see in championship. And it was great to see that, you know, and we almost had the first time ever we could have 5 teams on 0 points, and it would have come a team actually could have actually avoided a relegation playoffs without getting a point, which was never happened in our club championship before. But Glenfin sorted that out. They actually won their home match, which gave them their first victory of the campaign. So it left the bottom 4 teams on 0 points, and they now are in the relegation playoff, as I say, but certainly they gave it their all in that last game. They went down fighting, in fairness to them, so fair play to them. And as I say, the top teams now, St Union's topped the championship group in Skulkar, next Arua, Neve Connell, Glen Swilly, Gidor, Killybegs and St Michael's. They make up the quarter-final Bairns, and what happens is the top team plays the 8th team, the second team plays the 7th, and so on. So that's how the championship's set up now.
And the fixture list is a very interesting looking one.
Yeah, certainly. Listen, there's going to be some cracking games there now. If you look at those quarterfinals, Union, St Michael's, Kilcar, Killybegs, Arua, Gidor, Neve Connell, Glen Swilly. You know, we were thinking we mightn't see any proper good championship games until then, but really the weekend's games there was a lot of real close, tough championship games in it where we had that excitement back, which was great, because of looking like because of the lopsided nature of the championship that we were going to have to wait for these quarterfinals, but we certainly got them yesterday, so gives them teams a bit of heart going into those relegation playoffs, and as I say, we've got some great matches coming up now in the quarterfinals.
And there's a few local derbies in there. I mean, Kilcar, Killybegs, they won't be travelling too far for the game, and even St Michael's, Glen Swilly, I mean, they're
Neve Connell.
Oh, not Neve Connell. Sorry,
yes,
Neve Connell.
Right,
that's what I meant. Yeah,
you're right there. You've a lot of names to remember there, don't you? Fine. Neve Connell, Glen Swilly. They started off the campaign, of course, with a drawing game when a lot of people were expecting Neve Connell to win that match. And have too much for Glen Swilly, but particularly at home, the home venue certainly proven important yesterday. I think home crowd and that wee bit of passion, which was great to see from those teams at the bottom. But yeah, some great games in there. You know, Union, St Michael's played last year. St Michael's give St Union's their fill of it in the semi as well. So yeah, listen, I think Bundoran's performance yesterday against Kilcar will give Killybegs a bit of hope. Arua have been brilliant so far in the championship, and Gidor, I suppose we know, we bit of a dark horse now. They were beaten yesterday and looked like Neve Connell controlled the game. Gidor obviously with a huge amount of players on their injury list and lost quite a few players this season. So it remains to see how many players they can get back for that. But again, Glen Swilly have proven their championship credentials, and I think their game in Neve Connell is going to be a fascinating one as well. So great games to look forward to and look back on and say I've got a stellar lineup Donal and Ryan Ferry and Brendan Cookine and Kerry McDade. Those guys know their football. And yesterday actually I caught up with Brian McLaughlin. He was down helping out with his Michael's backroom team. He had played for the Masters yesterday, so got an interview from him. They beat Galway in the Masters Shield final on Saturday, so we have an interview for him coming up this evening as well.
In terms of the championship, there's no firm favourites sort of starting to emerge. There's no team running away with it. This is very much an open championship in terms of who ultimately is going to come out on top.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of an evening. If you look at those quarter-finals, I think every team will probably fancy it. Listen, I would say, not saying the unions, but I think the unions have probably, in Kilcar, maybe just about looked the two better sides in there, the two teams at the top now. In fairness, Bundoran gave them some game yesterday. No one's seen that coming at all, done. So, as in St. Unions, I think last year winning the championship, it was as if the team has really stepped up this year. Would have seen them. They're moving really well. They've an unbelievable amount of talent forward line out there now. So have Kilcar, but I think maybe defensively St. Unions are maybe a small bit more solid than that. So those two teams are probably slightly ahead of the rest. But listen, you're obviously not going to write off Niamh Connell because they probably haven't played their best yet, but there's certainly a lot more to come with them. And I think those teams, maybe Goodore just tucked in behind them. People would think it's going to still come from those four. But listen, I say on those quarter-final games, I think any of them will think they have a chance.
I'm sure Mr. Murphy and those in Glensully will be thinking, don't. They are not just going to be turning up for the crack, like.
Well, listen, looking at that picture, if anybody sees the paper there today, the Donegal's People's Press, my friend actually sent it me yesterday. Michael Murphy's catching a ball, and there must be 4 or 5 our drab boys. And he looks like someone's giving him a leg up, like the line out in rugby. He's away up. It's a fantastic picture. So yeah, Michael, I think every game I'm looking at reports, he's more or less man of the match or in the running for it. So he's really rolling back the years there for the Glen. So yeah, listen, them and Niamh Connell, I think of all those quarter-final games, I think that's the most interesting one.
But I presume with Michael Murphy locally as well as happens now nationally in the All-Ireland Championship in the National League, I mean, as soon as he takes to the field, okay, you 5 Mark Murphy, the rest of you know. And I'm sure it's the same locally. He's got about 4 or 5 people tracking him everywhere he goes.
Yeah. But I think probably the way he plays the game, because of his physical presence and his dead ball kicking, you can't take him out of the game, you know. There's probably certain players in the past where they could get boxed out and physically boxed out. He is so powerful that he'll even flick it on to one of those guys. It's free, or his dead ball part, and probably just his overall thing. It's just he's a once in a lifetime type player. So I think that's the trump that Ciara de Glenswilly always have each day they go out, and certainly it's stood them well so far in the championship.
Well, I know certainly from speaking to Washington this morning, I mean, it was a really busy weekend in terms of covering all those matches that took place. So, I mean, a really good way to just sit back, take it all in and just have a breath and sort of assess everything that happened over the course of the whole weekend. No better way to do it than to listen to yourself and the team on the DL debate tonight.
That's it. And you know what? As I say, I've been giving off maybe the last few years. Our championship has been very poor negative. I've seen good changes in that. I think people are realising, listen, there needs to be more kick passing in their game, and the game seems to be opening up. You're seeing players leaving actual platforms inside, you know, will be 1, 2, 3 players at a time being left inside, which allows the game to open up instead of what we're seeing, this really negative 15 dropping in. So I'm seeing a lot of good signs of that, and a lot of teams now, as I say, hitting teams at least on the break and at least using the foot pass. And I think it's making our game a lot more entertaining. As you say, it was phenomenal yesterday, hearing all the games and the scores, what was going on, because we thought a lot of them would be walkovers, but they went right down the wire, nearly every game in the championship. So it was a great last day in the group stages.
Yep, so DL debate tonight after the 7 o'clock news, and podcast as well, of course, on highlandradio.com. Brendan, thank you.
Cheers, Joel.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Do you need to switch your current account or loan? We are now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features and competitive rate switcher loans.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
These days, we're all looking for healthy, tasty family meals and lots of variety. The good news is that our fishermen continue to bring us the best of the catch, like fresh Irish hake and haddock. There are so many ways to enjoy them. Try delicious Thai curry with hake or mouth-watering Cajun seasoned haddock. For lots of tasty recipes and different meal ideas, visit boardbeer.ie and look out for Irish hake and haddock next time you're shopping. Fresh ideas, great meals.
Your Lancome free gift is waiting for you at McElhinney's. Simply buy 2 Lancome products and receive the ultimate beauty routine. Your gift includes a full-size Beavisol cleanser, a 7-piece travel set, plus choose from our Absolute or Hydrozen skincare collection to complete your gift. Exclusively in-store and online at McElhinney's.com until September 17th while stocks last.
With restrictions lifted, Special Olympics Ireland want to ensure that adults and children with intellectual disabilities get back to training, competing and meeting their friends again. This can only happen with the support of volunteers. If you would like to help any of the 8 local clubs here in Donegal, please come along to an open evening at Cargill Acela on the grounds of St Connell's in Letterkenny on Wednesday evening the 7th of September from 7 to 8:30. Volunteers aged 15 and over are needed as coaches, trainers, event organisers and fundraisers. Enrich your life and help transform the life of others as a volunteer with Special Olympics Ireland. For more information, visit the Special Olympics Ulster Facebook page.
Fleet owners, Cargo Defenders is your one-stop supplier for all your vehicle technology, including GPS vehicle tracking, remote tachograph downloading solutions, dash cams or 4G multi-camera systems. For more information, call Cargo Defenders on 074 9710 110 or visit cargodefenders.ie.
Text 086 60 25,000.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. Earlier, a caller had asked with regards to recycling electrical items. I did mention the WE charge, and a caller says, yes, anything with a plug is recycled free at the recycling centres. It's simple. If it has a plug, you've already paid the recycling charge at the time of purchase. Glad to clarify that. Caller says, we're all sympathetic to the Ukrainian situation and we can't imagine the situation they find themselves in coming to a strange country, and we're looking after them very well, but there is still a little concern as to some of the people coming in. None of them have been vetted. How do we know what their backgrounds are? I'd imagine the majority are okay, but there are still some concerns. Caller says, I enjoy your choice of music. I think for people listening around the world, they expect Irish music from a local Irish radio station. Glad to hear that. That was not my decision. It was Greg and Caroline's decision, and a decision, as I intimated, I absolutely 100% agree with. And if you're a fan of Irish music, don't forget Paul and Jimmy's Monday night sessions on tonight, and Jimmy's programme on a Thursday, centre stage as well, all Irish music. And of course, if you listen to John Breslin around the Northwest, which follows this programme, you can always be sure that whatever John is playing, there'll be an Irish record coming very, very quickly indeed. John, a huge supporter of Irish music as well. I'm glad to say that Highland Radio in general are supporters of Irish music, and we intend to keep that the case. The caller says, could you talk about why private nursing home staff have not received their promised €1,000 for working over the COVID pandemic? It's like we're totally forgotten about. I've sent 2 emails to the Minister of Health's office with no reply. It's all very disappointing. Caller, I mean, all I can say is the government is telling us it's coming. I know a lot of HSE staff still haven't got it either, so it isn't as though the HSE staff have all got it and the private sector has been left to one side. I think they're still working on protocols on how to pay it, and I know it's going to be slightly more difficult when they have to sit down with the private sector to figure out how that money is going to be distributed. I know it's being done, but it's being done really, really slowly, and many, many people are frustrated about that. Caller bought a twin pack of bacon, expecting to find 5 slices in each pack. There was a circle around the 10 slices notification on the packet. When she opened it, it was 3 slices and 2 wee bits in one pack and 4 slices in the other. When she went to study the packet, it actually said approximately 10 slices. Now, it's a minor thing, the caller says. You buy the double pack thinking you're getting a bargain, and you're not. It's just another way in how the customer is being done at the minute. Now, my understanding is, and this is my personal understanding, I have no knowledge of the industry. My understanding is when you buy items like that, they are selling it not by the number of rashers or the number of slices of bacon. They are selling it by weight. So what they are telling you is there will be 200 grams of rashers or bacon in that packet. So it'll say approximately 5 slices. The feeling being that, you know, now most rashers are of uniform size. One would have thought, you know, it would be uniform, but their argument will be that they're selling it according to weight, not according to actual number of slices. And again, another caller saying, I mean, the private sector, we still haven't received the pandemic payment. I've spoken to the HSE HR department. They said contact the Department of Health. I'm just frustrated. And we're getting that call from a number of people, actually. Another issue that's been raised by a caller before we go to our next guest on Zoom. Would you please take a look at the emergency department at Letterkenny University Hospital and ask them why they don't have some kind of calling system or a tannoy? Doctors appear to be walking around looking for patients. I've never seen that in any other emergency department I've visited. Also, in terms of bed management, why are people not getting a bed until the middle of the night when there are often empty beds in the wards? No one is discharged at midnight. They're out by 2 o'clock normally. Why are GPs sending non-emergency people to the emergency department when they should deal with them? Minor issues are not emergencies. So says a caller. Certainly, we could always sit back, I suppose, and improve the protocols in emergency departments and so on. Now, I want to talk about Love Donegal, because Love Donegal is an initiative of Donegal County Council and its Economic Development Unit in particular, which basically urges people to post pictures and stories about the county with the hashtag Love Donegal. It's been done before and it's been hugely popular and hugely successful. And September the 8th is Love Donegal Day. And to tell us more, I'm delighted to say I am joined on Zoom by Elaine Worski, who is the Assistant Economic Development Officer with Donegal County Council. Elaine, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's our absolute pleasure, Elaine. Elaine, how many years is this Love Donegal? Is this the third or fourth year?
This is, I think it's the fourth year.
Fourth year, yeah. I was thinking it was, yeah. And the past couple of years, it's been a major success in terms of actually getting Donegal trending on social media.
It has. Every year. It's grown and grown, and it's reached more people. Last year alone, it reached over 17 million people worldwide, and it was trending on social media for several days. And it actually won a local authority award as well. So we were delighted with that. So we're hoping this year it's going to be bigger as well.
Now, as we were saying, this coming Thursday, September 8th, is Love Donegal Day. There is a particular emphasis this year, isn't there, on art and culture and the contribution Donegal has made and is making to the art and culture of Ireland?
Yeah, well, one thing that we all know about Donegal is that it's a hub for culture and tradition and creativity and art. And that's something that we really want to celebrate and showcase this year. So we're running a competition this year as well and we're delighted to have the Sandhouse Hotel on board. They've kindly offered a one-night stay in an ocean view room with full bed and breakfast for the winner. And what we're asking people to do is to send in their creative and artistic interpretation of what Donegal means to them, based on the new Donegal place brand logo.
That's the Donegal DNA.
Yes.
The logo indeed, yeah. And what you're basically asking then is just use whatever people are posting, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, wherever, to use that hashtag Love Donegal, or if they prefer, Donegal Laboo.
Exactly, yeah. So what we're asking people to do is on that day is to showcase what Donegal means to them, whether you're in Donegal, whether you're in Ireland, or whether you're further afield abroad, to showcase what makes Donegal special to you, and to use the hashtag Love Donegal and hashtag Donegal Laboo, as you said. And we're hoping that as many people as possible get involved and engaged and participate, and that we can spread the message further afield.
Now, we know that you and other colleagues in council across departments are monitoring the interest in Donegal on social media, how many hits the county is getting, how many tags the county is getting, and so how many people are coming onto the county's websites and viewing the council's online presence. And, I mean, the figures are in the millions.
Yeah, the figures are they're growing all the time. What we've noticed is that, particularly on our own social media and our website, is that more and more people are following us. More and more people are checking on the website. They want to know what it's like to live in Donegal, to what opportunities are there to work in Donegal and to invest in Donegal, and looking at all the different marketing campaigns that we're doing at the moment to kind of spread that message. And yeah, as you said, there's more and more there's more and more people showcasing their interest in Donegal, and it's amazing to see.
And we know as well that later on this month, 20, I think it's 23rd and 24th, you have Donegal Connect, the Tip O'Neill Diaspora Awards, and that whole diaspora focus that we get in September. So this initiative, the Love Donegal campaign, isn't operating in a vacuum. It's coming very much just before that Donegal Connect event. So hopefully the one will feed into the other.
Exactly, yeah, because it spreads the same message. It spreads the word that there's opportunities in Donegal to have this great quality of life, and it's one of the main aims for the campaign. And Donegal Connect, in linking in with the Donegal diaspora, that'll play a huge part in that. And we really want to kind of strengthen those connections and networks with our diaspora as well. So that's kind of some of the main aims for that.
And fair to say, Elaine, Donegal's been very much ahead of the curve in Ireland with regards to that, reaching out to the diaspora. I mean, the Tip O'Neill Awards have been running for quite a long time now at this point. So, I mean, the county has been very much at the forefront. And if anything, the rest of the country is actually catching up with what Donegal's been doing for a while.
Yeah, so we've kind of we firmly believe that we've always firmly believed that the diaspora is so important to us, and that connection is really important. It's something. It's not just the council, but I think Donegal people in general really like to keep those connections, with people who are abroad, and even generations of people, kind of second and third generation. People really like to keep those connections, and they feel it's really important to their core beliefs. And I think the rest of the county is the country is definitely kind of seeing the value in that, and seeing just the reach that you can have by keeping those connections. It's so important. And yeah, I think Donegal is definitely ahead of the curve, as you said.
In terms of Thursday's Love Donegal campaign, just remind people exactly what it is you'd like them to do, because Thursday, September 8th, is the day where people can very much make their own very definite contribution to Donegal's future. And, if enough people do it, as you say, last year Donegal trended across Twitter and Instagram for quite some time. The same can happen this year, but only if individual people, like those listening today, actually go and use that hashtag. So what exactly is it that you want people to do?
What we want people to do is we're trying to encourage as many people as possible to take part in Love Donegal, and to share what makes Donegal so special to them, whether it's visiting and travelling and exploring, whether it's the people, the coastline, the landscape, or the culture, or music or arts, or the language and the Gaeltacht region, or even the business community and the working opportunities that are here, and the investment opportunities, whatever it is that makes Donegal special, to share it and use the hashtag Love Donegal or the hashtag Donal Abu in the social media posts, and to tag us as well, so that we can share those posts as well on our own social media platforms, and to just spread the message of why Donegal is so special and what it means to us.
Elaine Worski, Assistant Economic Development Officer with Donegal County Council. Thanks very much indeed. We'll be keeping, obviously, a very close eye on how things are going on Thursday. I'm sure you'll be speaking to yourself and others from Council over the course of the day as well. But for now, Elaine, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
It has been our pleasure. That's Elaine there from Donegal County Council's Economic Development Unit. So if you are indulging in any creative or artistic endeavours on Thursday next, the 8th of September, get a selfie, grab a quick picture, get a little video, whack it up on Twitter or Instagram, and hashtag it either Love Donegal or Donegal Abu. Link Donegal County Council and tag the council on the post as well, and get it out there. And let's get Love Donegal trending once again, and make this year's initiative as successful, if not more so, than previous. Let's look at some of the comments that have been building up. It was a long and lengthy discussion last week, obviously, on the programme with regards to bills and the cost of living. Caller says, it's only a matter of time. People won't be able to pay their bills. It's not that they won't pay, it's that they won't be able to pay. Another caller says, these marches always get taken over by socialists who don't represent the vast majority of the population. It's unfortunate, but that's the status quo. That's reference to the march that's taking place on the 24th in Dublin, the Cost of Living Coalition organising that particular march. Yes, there will be socialist political parties taking place in that march, but there will be others as well, and it's an open march that anyone can participate in. Caller asking with regards to the replacement of electric car batteries for electric cars, suggesting it's going to cost €21,000 to replace the battery. Who has the money for that? So asks the caller. Another caller says that you want to get one go at life, one chance, and the government are determined to make sure we're miserable living it. Pay what you can and spend the rest on making yourself and your family happy. Another caller says, I'm with Prepay Power. I find it great. I can check my power level every day. Another caller says, people need to pay the normal price of their bill, not the excess. Nothing can be done to anyone that keeps paying their bill. That way companies are still being paid for their service or products. And another caller says 500 litres of oil has gone from €620 on the 22nd of August to 720 at the end of last week. So that was a €100 increase over the course of just 1 week. It's 11:30. We're going to take a very short break. Back in a moment with a discussion on the cleanliness of our beaches.
Hear that? That's the sound of you saving. When you drive an electric vehicle, you're helping save our beautiful planet. And you're saving yourself not having to pay ever-increasing fuel prices. Find out more about what you could save at fasterevcharge.com. Save today and tomorrow. This project has been supported by the European Union's Interreg 5A programme.
Enjoy a great value breakfast any day until 2 at Kelly's Diner, Letterkenny. Every Saturday at Kelly's, it's Steak Madness with a succulent 8-ounce steak and all the trimmings for just €12. On Fridays, from 3, all deluxe burgers with chips and a soft drink are only $15.95. For endless choice and value, pull into Kelly's Diner at Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Have you heard about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane? Feel the glitz and the glamour of old-style cinema elegance with a luxurious modern twist. Enjoy a red roomy armchair or love seat, each with its personal footstool. Relax and unwind with a nice glass of wine, some Italian gelato or even a pizza. To find out more about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane, or to book your luxury experience, go to eclipsecinemas.com.
You might think you know the wild Atlantic way, but maybe it's time for a closer look. Stand tall at the towering edge of the world and discover adventure, rugged and wild. Leap from the mainland with an escape to Valentia Island, or take a bite out of sparkling city life in Galway before finding sanctuary among the wilderness of Wild Neffin Ballycoy National Park. The Wild Atlantic Way, yours to explore. Keep discovering at discoverireland.ie.
My worry was I going to live or was I not going to live? That's the worry you have with prostate cancer.
My advice to men is quite simple. Never, ever, ever take your good health for granted. Recognise the symptoms. Get checked.
This September, the Marie Keating Foundation is asking you to stand up for your prostate. Find out more at mariekeating.ie, kindly supported by Estellas.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. 27 minutes, just over 27 minutes left on the programme. Caller says protests in Dublin are not the answer to resolving issues. It holds the general public to ransom while the point gets lost and nothing changes. It's the same for anyone who attempts these protests in Donegal. Now, I know certainly the Micah Action Group and Micah campaigners will tell you that the protests in Dublin that were held recently were hugely successful, and I mean, we don't pay water charges, and if you recall, there was a huge campaign with regards to water charges culminating in a massive march in Dublin, and a lot of people will tell you they believe that's what caused the dropping of water charges for households from the political agenda. So, I mean, you know, there is an argument that says certainly in terms of water charges, marches in Dublin were very effective indeed. Caller says, I agree the increase in utilities is criminal. As a householder, my bill is expected to incur a direct debit of €405 a month, keeping in mind the heating isn't currently on. There's also a further increase expected in January 2023. However, comparing us to France isn't compatible. The French government own a substantial part of the country's main power company, hence the nominal increase to their bills. I'm afraid there will be drastic stories of people starving, freezing and fatalities hitting the media in the near future. That's a worrying perspective. We heard on the news that two Donegal marine areas, Bundoran Beach and Killybegs Harbour, were included in IBAL's latest survey on beaches and harbours and littering on them, and neither, sad to say, have come out of it looking very well indeed. Conor Horgan, spokesperson with IBAL, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Conor, as we said, two Donegal facilities, Bundoran Beach and Killybegs Harbour, and sadly neither are coming out of this covered in glory.
Well, last year we did this survey, Donal, and Bundoran was branded littered. Killybegs Harbour was moderately littered, and we've seen no change 12 months later. Now, I would say that overall across the country we've seen a deterioration in cleanliness. Litter levels are on the rise, and in particular, beaches that were clean last year have dropped to moderately littered status. So we're seeing an overall deterioration. Only 8 areas surveyed were clean. And as I said, Killybegs wasn't among them. It was moderately littered. It was an improved performance from Killybegs, though, and I'm reading the report from Montashka here in front of me. It suffered from small litter accumulations, mostly food and alcohol related, along the promenade and in between the rocks. Chewing butts and chewing gum were pronounced also along the car parks. The removal of litter bins along the promenade during the summer season was considered perplexing. But it does say there were substantial improvements noted at the town side of Killybegs, particularly regarding new planters, picnic tables and the seating area.
Well, I have to say, I
was probably on the better end of moderately littered, to be honest.
I must say, I was surprised at the Killybegs findings, because I was down at Killybegs Harbour for a couple of hours there just a few weeks ago, and I actually thought it was very, very well presented indeed. And to a certain extent, some of these can be a moment in time, and sometimes maybe can towns be unlucky that when the inspection is done is a time that maybe it's not looking its best, and maybe had the inspection been done 24 hours before or 24 hours after, it might have been a different situation.
Well, there is that, and I suppose like we do multiple visits now, so there were visits made in June and July in this case. Also, the inspectors are advised in the case of stormy weather or whatever, like not to do the survey. So we try to get a representative picture. But you're right, it is the case that with any area, it can be clean one day and not clean the next. And of course, we want it to be clean all the time. And we do have areas that are consistently clean. But clearly, Killybegs has improved year on year. And when I read that report, it's a more positive report than most of the towns that are labelled moderately littered.
Bundoran, as you say, again deemed littered on the beach there, and that's going to be disappointing, because I know certainly there was one late councillor used to always describe Bundoran as the hidden gem in Donegal's arsenal of attractions, and sadly what's being described in IBAL's report is not necessarily a gem.
No, and again, we're not necessarily talking about litter on the beach itself. It was litter along the promenade and the car park which brought down the litter grade here. It's described as so preventable by Untashka in their report. There were overflowing litter bins along the promenade. There was a very heavy cigarette butt presence along the edges of the promenade. There were plastic items along the tide line itself. I mentioned cigarette butts, and people might be dismissive of them as not being important, but from our point of view, the cigarette butt is far from harmless. It contaminates the water. There's plastic in it, and cigarette butts in their billions contribute to this problem of plastic pollution, which is threatening sea life and indeed threatening our very planet. So we shouldn't dismiss cigarette butts as not important, even if their visual impact isn't high.
In terms of the future, obviously Donegal County Council, local representatives and others, Tidy Towns committees and so on are going to be reading the reports. They're going to be hopefully taking notes on them and looking to getting the situation improved. Are you holding out any hope that we will see improvement in the coming months, and that maybe the next time the survey is done it'll be a different story?
Well, I mean, I have a general feeling that people are getting better when it comes to litter. I think there is a greater sense of personal responsibility. I think this was a busy summer, a good summer weather-wise. That would have put a strain on some of these areas, and that might prompt the local authorities to maybe rethink their bin policy. And local authorities tend to be reluctant to put out bins because they get used for household, dumping of household waste. but I think there's a balance there, and maybe if they haven't found the right balance in Bundoran, for example, I am confident that as a nation we'll get better. It is down to people's personal responsibility, and I think people will be more mindful that in dropping litter, it's not just about the visual impact, it's about something more fundamental.
And it's important we acknowledge that, because sometimes when we hear the results of a survey like this, the conversation can very often go to the local authority, go to the council, go to, what's the council doing about this? When maybe the question I need to be asking is, what am I doing about this? What am I as a citizen doing about this? What am I as a beach user doing about this?
Because I think across the country, certainly in the last 10 years, the councils have put in place an infrastructure that wasn't there at beaches. And I'm talking about bins, I'm talking about seating in particular, so you don't have to have your lunch necessarily on the sand, but there's dedicated areas to for you to have your picnic. So I think they're doing their bit, and the people should follow.
Conor Horgan of IBAL, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you, Donal.
Thank you, Conor. That's Conor Horgan there of IBAL. Bundoran and Killybegs, they're featured in that survey of beaches and harbours, and certainly a challenge there for all of us based on the findings of that report. Just some of your comments, and a few of these comments actually left over from Friday. Apologies, but obviously it was a very busy show on Friday, not least because Greg made one lucky listener €10,000 richer. But a couple of the comments left over for today. Caller says, I'm a mother of a child on the Clonmany bus. There were 8 children left standing on the side of the road on Thursday last. Myself and 3 other mothers stay because you can't leave minors unattended on the roadside. Now, today the inspector went to the yard to resolve the issue. There still weren't enough children on the bus. 3 were going to be put off the bus and put off the bus to stand, and I made the bus stay and wait until the second bus came. One child had a panic attack out of fear of being late. One boy, it's just stressful for children. And the mother making a very interesting point. Yes, we're talking about, there were children left standing on the side of the road. And let's think about that for a moment. There were children left standing on the side of the road. And, you don't need to add to that sentence to know this is a serious situation that needs to be addressed. Another caller is saying, with regards to the bus, there needs to be discussions between Bus Éireann, between the department, between government, between the bus provider. And as Deputy Padraig McLaughlin said, look, the company providing the service is providing the service it's being paid for, and they cannot put more children on the bus than they have capacity for, and this is an issue that does need to be resolved. Another caller says there's a problem with the school bus, Letterkenny to Rafo, very stressful, and it shouldn't be. The school principal is doing everything possible, but the reality is, it's a terrible situation for people to find themselves without a ticket, and many people are finding themselves, sadly, in that situation. We're going to take a short break, and after the break we're going to be talking to a lady who is a very well-known entertainer in this country, a name you'll know very well. That's coming up after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our
Very
app
good morning.
today
Good to talk
and
to you.
get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Very well indeed.
Hi, Brendan Basin here. Join me in celebrating 30 years of Bewley's Big Coffee Morning Social for Hospice on Thursday the 22nd of September by hosting a coffee morning for your local hospice. To register, please call 0818 995 996 or visit hospicecoffeemorning.ie. Thank you for supporting 30 years of Coffee Morning.
Are you travelling to Dublin for business? Fly with Aer Lingus from Donegal to Dublin from $29.99 one way. 2 flights daily. See aerlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
The renowned Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels Ballybuffet are hosting their autumn wedding showcase on Sunday, September the 11th from 1 till 4 p.m. Take the opportunity to view 2 stunning venues on the same day. Let us make your dream Donegal wedding come true at the Villa Rose and Jackson's.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council and the Donegal Road Safety Working Group. With children returning to school following the summer holidays, we can expect increased traffic volumes on our roads, especially around schools. We would appeal to all parents to remind children about road safety and take extra care when dropping or collecting children from schools. We would also ask that all road users be extra vigilant when driving near schools. Each one of us must play our part to help make the roads safe and to be aware of everyone who uses them. By exercising extra care and caution, we can make the roads safer for everyone.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
Text 086 60 25,000.
Inevitably, lots of the stuff we're talking about on the programme this morning, and indeed stuff that's spoken about on the programme most mornings, is heavy, and it can sometimes be depressing, and it can involve cost of living, and it can involve tragedy, and it can involve things that you would much rather not be discussing. And I think we always need something to be looking forward to, something to bring some light into our lives, something to take us away from the difficulties we face on a day-to-day basis. And one of those things can be theatre, and sometimes nothing beats a good, funny comedy show or play in a theatre. And if that is something you would like to enjoy, Greenan Theatre later this year is where you want to be. November the 19th at Greenan Theatre in Letterkenny sees the return of Dirty Dusting. And to tell us more about Dirty Dusting is one of its stars, Mary Byrne. Mary, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Very well indeed, thanks. Now, obviously, most of our listeners will know you, Mary, from your stint on the X Factor and several shows since then here in Ireland, and indeed beyond. And, Dirty Dusting is a comedy, unashamedly so, and the reviews are in. It's laugh out loud. It's the funniest show you'll see all year. And if people are looking for a lift, you're there to give it to them.
Well, you know what? It's one of those, look, we've had the last maybe 2.5 years of misery, and now we're going through a lot more than we thought we would. So this type of play is what's really needed to get your belly really, really laughing. And it's about 3 elderly ladies, myself included, unfortunately. But anyway, we are cleaners, and we work in an office building, and we find out we're going to be let go because we're too old for the job. So, to get our own back on them, we start up a thing. Now, when I say these words, do not think that it's a dirty play, because it's not. It's about dirty dusting, but it's about a sex line we start up. And it just becomes hilarious. It's old slapstick that used to happen. We used to watch the TV with it all the time. Everything is left to your own mind, the way we speak, the way we say our words. It is hilarious. And we were surprised when we first brought it out, I think it was 2019. The standing ovations, the people just loved it. They clapped with us, they laughed with us, and they sang with us at the end of it. So it's something worth going to see, and just to lift your spirits away from all the dead stuff that's happening today.
You mentioned singing, and I'm intrigued to notice that as well as the 3 ladies who are at the core of the programme, we also have the involvement of one Mr. Jake Carter, who many people listen to Highland Radio will be very familiar with indeed.
Poor old Jake has no idea what he's in for. He really doesn't. He's our boss, right? But he's a young man, and he has this, he thinks he is the bee's knees, in other words. And he just cannot stand the 3 ladies. He wants younger people in there. So he gets some stick and gets his comeuppance. It's so funny. I mean, poor old Jake hasn't done this. So he's just literally coming in. He's a newbie coming into us. So he's in for a treat. But he is a great guy. I've been talking to him a few times. I've met him a few times. I've met his family. I've met, the whole lot of them. And they're all lovely people. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to working with Jake. And it's going to be fun because he's going to bring a new element to the character that he's playing.
Yeah, I'm getting a distinct 9 to 5 vibe about this. 3 ladies... a rather nasty boss who gets his comeuppance. I mean, I'm seeing. Perhaps this is unfair, but are there parallels?
There probably is. I mean, the only difference is we are all supposed to be in our 70s, and it's set in a time where older people are not being appreciated. I suppose with 9 to 5, women weren't being appreciated either. So yeah, there is a little bit of a parallel to it there, but it's funny. It is funny. It's one of those things where I remember reading the script, and I left school at 12, and I never studied in my life. And I remember seeing the script and the dialogue that was in it, and I was going, oh my God, I am not going to be able to do this. And then I read through it, and I read through it, and I read through it, and I couldn't find it funny because I was reading it so much. But once we stood on the stage, the crowd got the jokes. They got the little innuendos that came out of it. And, when that happened and the crowd go with you, your heart lifts and you just put more into it. So they're going to enjoy it. And yes, it is a little bit of 9 to 5, the bad treating of women. How dare you? We'll show you how it's done, that kind of way.
Yeah, and there's yourself, there's Linda McCarthy, Nicole Bonham, the three ladies. And obviously there's going to be a huge interplay between the three of you because, as you say, sometimes words on a script can be dead, and it's what a cast does with those words. It's how they're presented, it's how they're interpreted, and it's how they're delivered. It's what's going to make them funny. And
it is.
I'm sure at this stage the three of you have done this before. Yeah,
we have. Yeah, but we haven't done it in almost 3 years, so we're getting stuck into our scripts now and trying to remember everything that we said. But Linda McCarthy, the lady you spoke about there, she plays Peggy. And there's a particular scene in it with Peggy that you're going to have the people rolling around the aisle. She is the comedy element in the middle of the play. It's hilarious what she has to do. And when you get to know the characters, when you're watching the play, you see that Peggy is quite shy, and she's happily married, and her and her Billy are the bee's knees as well. But then she comes into herself, and it is just, she even has us laughing. I have to turn away many a time on stage, away from the audience, to laugh at what she does. It's just incredible what she does.
The show did originate in the UK, the writers Ed Waugh and Trevor Wood. I have no doubt, certainly haven't seen you on TV, and I have no doubt that once you get your hands on it and once Richard Mansworth gets his directorial control over it, I'm sure this is going to become very much an Irish experience and something that will resonate very much with Irish people. I'm sure the accents, the presentation, it's going to be, as it were, you're not going to be putting on London accents and pretending you're in the UK. This is very much, I'm sure, an Irish story, as it were.
It is, and Richard has actually, he has taken a lot of the English stuff out and put in Irish sayings, so people will know what we're doing. Like, I remember, as I said, when I read it first, it was a lot of English stuff, and I didn't understand half of the stuff. And then Richard took the script and did what he had to do with it. And yes, it is very Irish, and they will get it. They will be able to relate to places we're talking about and stuff we're talking about more so than would with the English script.
Excellent. And as we said, we know we have a comedian here, Conal Gallen, who does plays, and he's been very successful this past few years. And I think he's on the road actually shortly with his new one too. And a former colleague of ours here at Highland, Gary Gamble, also has his own sort of play like this. And
Gary, I went to see Gary's.
You went to see Gary's, yeah. So
I did.
Sorry
you were on stage with me, but he pulled us up at the end of the day and made me wear a pair of little thongs on the thing while we were all dancing.
I would expect nothing less from our Gary. I would expect nothing less from Gary. Yeah, but I mean, and again, and I think the success of Gary, the success of Conal, the success of others. There's an author, I can't recall his name, in Mayo, who has some place on the go as well. I can't recall the author's name, sadly, and apologies for that. But I mean, it does show that there is a market for this out there, and I think people do more than ever need a laugh.
Yeah, and people just need, I suppose, innocent laughter to take them away from all the stuff that's going on in our world today. And it's one of those plays, and Ian's play was the same. When we went to see that, we were sitting there kind of just, now, I mean, he would kind of have a regency where, Donegal and stuff like that. So, but we had to listen more carefully to dialogue that he was saying, and then we got it, so people just, and this was up in Portlaoise, we went to see the play, and the place was rolling around the floor laughing. So it's going to be the same with Dirty Dustin when we go down to that part of the world, our part of the world, your part of the world, sorry. It's going to be the same. People will get the innuendos and they will enjoy it, and we need it. We need it after all we've been through, really and truly. I mean, I haven't worked for 2.5 years because of the COVID, and now we have inflation hitting us all in every direction they can hit us. So yes, a light bit of laughter, a group of our ones on the stage with one young man is going to have them rolling around the floors laughing.
And this is in Angrenon Theatre in Donegal on the 19th of November. If anyone is listening, by the way, down in the south of Donegal, it's on in the Hawkswell the following night, which is Sunday, November 20th. And I mean, this is a fairly heavy tour between the 19th of October and the 5th of December. Mary, you're in Naas, Castlebar, Mullingar, Drogheda, Kilkenny, Portlaoise, Monaghan, Dublin, Limerick, Offaly, Waterford, Tallaght, Donegal, Sligo, Dundalk, Carlow, Wexford. Hey, that is one big trip.
You see, they don't care that I'm 62 and I have arthritis. They're just going to get the whip out and make me walk.
But think of the money, Mary. Think of the money.
Oh, listen, apart from the money is what we need badly, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the group I work with. They're a great group of people, and you'll see that on stage. You'll feel that on stage, that we're all friends and we all get on and we really want to put on a good play and involve the audience. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it so much. It's so good to be back out there and bringing a bit of laughter and smiles to people's faces and to our own faces and earning a few bob as well. No point in lying about it. It's about earning a few bob, but it's also about the entertainment value of it.
Mary Byrne, thank you very much indeed. All the best to yourself and the rest of the cast with Dirty Dusting, as I say, November 19th in Letterkenny, following day in the Hawkswell in Sligo, and all around the country for a 2-month period. Enjoy it, and we look forward to seeing it.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you there soon. Right, you look after yourself, and to all your listeners, God bless you all. Keep your chins up. It'll all pass.
Mary, thank you very much indeed. That's Mary Byrne there. You'll recall Mary from the X Factor, and she has lost none of the exuberance that she portrayed so well on that particular programme. That's nearly it for the 9 till noon show. As we were saying to Mary there, a lot of depressing news out there at the moment, and I'm afraid I want to finish with some of your comments, so that's going to come back in to a certain extent, but remember that there is also comedy out there. There is always laughter, and we must take our enjoyment and our distraction where we can. Caller says, I understand prices go up, but the large-scale increase in prices for energy is incredible. Is there any objective way to protest about these prices? So asks the caller. With regards to school transport tickets, one lady was on the programme last week with Greg and sort of said, that she assumed she would have a ticket because she had a ticket the previous year. And caller says, look, you have to book your ticket every year. I know it's years since my crew started on school buses. You have to go online every year to book the seat. There is a closing date. I think it's in June. Another caller says, I did have tickets issued. I had bothered getting them. If you ring 05793 25465, that's 057 9325 it's an Offaly school bus transport number. They helped out so much, and they will lodge queries, and I was sorted within an hour. So that's a suggestion by a caller there. We'll keep that number at the top of our pile if anyone wants to make contact with us, and we can give you the number again. But that's it from the 9 till noon show for today. Thank you indeed to Caroline Orr for producing and for looking after me as always. Thanks to all our contributors, and most importantly, thanks to you for listening. We'll be back, of course, with the 9 till noon show tomorrow morning, 9 until noon, when we'll do it all over again. And don't forget, of course, directly after this programme, we're going around the Northwest with John Breslin. And as I said earlier, our policy on the 9 till noon show is to play only Irish music, and you can be sure that John will always have a very high proportion of Irish music in his playlist as well. As we say, until tomorrow, from all of us on the 9 till noon show, have a very good day.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Do you need to switch your current account or loan? We are now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features and competitive rate switcher loans.
Alzheimer's Memory Walk takes place on Sunday 18th of September.